Hello everyone, my name is Reem Qais Hamdan and I am talking today about augmenting bone regeneration and management of bone defects in the jaw. First of all, we have an introduction about the subject. Bone made up of living cells, minerals, vitamins, proteins are helpful for growth and repair bone. Bone tissue composed of harder outer layer, cortical compact bone, inner spongy layer, trabecular bone. In this photo we have a cross-section of the skull and it's composed of inner spongy layer and outer compact bone. Bone regeneration. The bone regeneration is a process which responds to any injury like accidental fracture, development of continuous remodeling of the bone, disease like osteoporosis, and after surgery like atrophy. Bone regeneration process involves certain processes like hematoma formation, callus formation, callus ossification, and bone remodeling. The mechanism of bone regeneration: hematoma formation, then callus formation, then the callus ossification, and after that, bone remodeling. Bone graft. First, we have to know what is a graft. It is a viable tissue or organ that, after removal from a donor site, is implanted or transplanted within the host tissue, which is then repaired, restored, and remodeled. Bone grafts are the material used for replacement or augmentation of the bone. Biological concept of the using bone grafts: contain bone-forming cell osteogenesis, serve as a scaffold for bone formation osteoconduction, matrix of bone grafting material contain bone inductive substance osteoinduction. The osteogenesis: osteoblasts in the transplanted bone having adequate blood supply and cellular viability form a new center of ossification within the graft. The osteoconduction: formation of the bone by osteoblast from the margin of the defect on the bone graft material, and it is facilitate the bone formation by bridging the gap between the existing bone and a distal location that otherwise would not be occupied by a bone. Osteoinduction: cell mediator at the defect, stimulation of the osteoprogenitor cell, osteoblast, and finally new bone formation. Bone metabolism. Bone metabolism is a continual cycle of bone growth and resorption that is carefully orchestrated by the dynamic relationship between osteoclast, osteoblast, and array of hormonal and regulatory influence. Bone atrophy. Bone atrophy, also known as osteonecrosis of the jaw, occurs when underlying jaw bone begin to deteriorate, and this can occur from a number of reasons. Growth factor. A bone growth factor is a growth factor that stimulates the growth of the bone tissue. Growth factors are polypeptides that are generally synthesized by a specific tissue, where in a very low concentration they act as a local regulator of cell function. Growth factors indicate their action by binding to a specific large transmembrane receptor on the cell surface of the target cell. Bone morphogenic protein. They are multifunctional growth factors that belong to transforming a growth factor superfamily, and it discovered from their ability to induce the bone formation. Function of BMPs: the chemotaxis, cell replication, which is mitosis, alkaline phosphatase activity, and mineralization. Mesenchymal stem cells. They are also known as mesenchymal stromal cell or medicinal signaling that cells are potent stromal cells that can differentiate into a variety of cell types, including bone cells, the osteoblast, cartilage cell, chondrocyte, and muscle cell, myocyte. Finally, the fat cell which give rise to marrow adipose tissue, which is adipocyte.